feelings so you can realize the action you must take to clear it from your life. That's what my guided journey does. This is the companion journal to my flagship book, my award-winning, best-selling book, Guided. So this was created from all the fans that came to me asking me, I know I can do this. I need to learn how to do this, and this is how to do this, all right? And it works. I've had many people come back and I've actually posted the successes around the journal and how it's really made a difference in people's lives. It keeps you focused on the connection. That's really what it is. It's you bump into it, you kind of back into it. Upon reflection, you notice that this is going on. So it's not something that you ever realize what's going on in the moment that you are in whatever it is. Like when things fall apart, you may not notice how brilliant you really are. Write it in your journal, part 3. Keep logging these unusual and out of the ordinary occurrences that are going on in your life so you capture that guidance, because that's where it's at. That's where it's coming through, all right? But you won't see it the moment you're in it. Okay, Ray. Who do we have with us?
We have Vanessa from Australia. It's already tomorrow in
Vanessa,
Australia.
we love
Hi,
having you.
Vanessa, Joy, Kimberly, Kathy,
You guys.
Mary Elizabeth,
Great.
Kimberly Williams.
We should see Linda Schwartz tonight, too.
Maybe.
She sent an email wanting to make sure she doesn't miss it tonight. We haven't seen her for a while.
I know.
So does anyone have questions around
Not
this yet?
yet.
All right. So Ray, we were talking
Yes.
about this a little bit, about what did you do when things fell apart in your life?
Well, back when I was growing up, I never realized there was spirit guides or anything like that. You know, I got a very religious upbringing, but when things would not be going the way I wanted them to, I wouldn't say they fell apart, they just weren't going the way I wanted to, I would talk to myself.
You just did it automatically.
I did it automatically because I couldn't talk to my parents. Like my dad was always working, my mom was always working, you know.
And they were stressed out.
They were all stressed out, and so
And they couldn't help you. They really didn't have the ability to help you. They would have if they could have done that, right?
Right. I was, you know, an only child for 6 years, and then I was pretty much on my own by the time I started working when I was 9.
I know.
And I had like 2 or 3 jobs all the time, and
That's because Ray had a thing about money.
yes, I did.
He knew that money gave him choices.
Right.
So that's why, that was important to him. Okay, so then when you grew up and when things fell apart, what kind of things would fall apart in your life,
Well,
Ray?
mostly relationships.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and-
How well do we know that one? That's common. Okay.
well.
So what happened then? How did you handle it then? Who did you talk to?
Well, you certainly wouldn't talk to any of my friends because they weren't in any better situations than I was. Probably worse. I mean, a lot of them were musicians too.
Oh.
So that we went through a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I know.
So you wouldn't talk to your parents.
Why not? I know. I
It-
wouldn't talk to my parents about
About a
it.
relationship.
No.
You know, you're having trouble with your girlfriend. You know, it's kind of,
It's a personal thing.
yeah. It was like, I kind of looked at girlfriends. This might sound harsh, but I kind of looked at girlfriends like my guitars. I had 16 guitars in my bedroom, lined up along the wall.
Musician mentality.
Right. And you know, that's how I spent my money. I spent my money on
On
guitar
women?
and guitars and cars to haul around the equipment. So, you know.
Ray was the best boyfriend, by the way. The kind you'd want. He spent his money on you,
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's just like the guitars. If one of the guitars broke, I had other ones. If you lost one girlfriend, there was other ones. Right? And
I don't know about the best boyfriend
I would-
now. I'm taking that back.
I would never get rid of any of my guitars because I liked them all. And
you never got rid of your girlfriends either.
I didn't.
You liked them all.
I did. They got rid of me. Probably because I was a musician. Who knows?
Okay. Okay. But okay, let's take this a little bit deeper. We're gonna flesh out some questions out of you guys. When you got older and things fell apart, as we get older, when things fall apart, it gets more real, more serious. You know, it's not like it was when he was a musician in his 20s, right? It gets, now you're really got an investment in the relationship you're in, the work that you're doing, you know, the child you just had, you know, life gets more real. And so what happens then? Tell me about one of those.
Well, I think the first thing you think about is, what are you going to do now? You have these obligations.
Yeah.
Something disrupted the flow of the relationship, the obligations, the lifestyle, you know, something.
The bliss.
The bliss. Something interrupts your bliss. That's kind of a nice way to put it. Interrupted your bliss.
That's what it is. When things fall apart, your bliss, that's what happened. Your bliss was affected, all right? The only way that you could safeguard your bliss, or, you know, when it falls apart, you guys, the bliss is gone, all right? But a lot of times what we do is we compromise to stay in that relationship because the bliss was so good. It felt so good. We want that bliss back. Maybe it's really okay. Maybe it'll fix itself. Maybe.
Yeah.
What if? And all that kind of hoping and wishing and praying and, you know, and all that kind of thinking. Actually, when the bliss is gone, the bliss is gone. You can't go grab it back and say, oh, I want it back. And I'm just going to compromise until it returns. Many times, that's what you did.
Yeah, and in the back of my mind, if I knew I couldn't fix it, I'm a big fixer
I know.
guy. I fixed a couple things this week, didn't I?
You do, right?
Okay, so
He's great.
I fix things, and that's my nature to do that. But if I see that there's something I can't fix, I plan. I plan for what's going to take the place of that. What's going to happen if I can't fix that?
For example, give me a real world example.
I guess people call it plan B. You know, what's your plan B? You got to have a plan B if plan A doesn't work out. So I always had a plan B that was...
Give us an example, Ray, of one. So when the plan didn't work, what was your plan B?
Well, I like you said, I stuck with it too long. I stuck with it too long thinking that...
I did the same thing.
Thinking that it'll come back. That maybe it was something that...
I stayed in it. I'm gonna jump in. And I stayed in it because I didn't know what to do. At the moment, I got disappointed.
Right. Me too. Me too.
But I did start a plan B. I know what Ray's talking about.
Yeah.
He and I, see how we line up? It's crazy, you guys. But I did start a plan B. It was a quiet, silent decision I made that I implemented. Nobody noticed anything, but I was shoring myself up because this broke my heart. Okay?
Yeah, me too. That's why the first thing you realize when things fall apart is, wow, that's a shock. That's a shock.
Yeah,
But then you get to a point after the shock settles in that the shock becomes disappointment.
Right.
In the situation.
And then it becomes reality.
Right. Then it becomes, how am I going to fix this for myself?
That's reality right there. And you know how I did it? I started writing out what was going on as I was moving through it. Now, this journal is something that I wrote and published last year. All right. But, I mean, I had my notebook that I made notes in, that I wrote in, so I could think it out. That's what I thought I was doing. I thought I was thinking it out, when what I was really doing, the magic in writing it down and keeping it going so I could see it, is I knew I couldn't see it while I was in it. I always knew that. But when I look back at what I wrote, even a week later, I could see what, you know, my thinking, how clear my thinking was, how I could improve on what my plan B, what Ray was talking about, that plan B was, and how I could start to really move into that. But I never, you guys, I stayed too long in both relationships, but do you stay too long? Or do you just give it everything you have? I mean, really, sometimes I think we have
Leos stay a little bit too long.
What did you say?
Leos stay a little too long because they think they can fix it.
Yeah,
and they don't give up.
Right, and we don't go into things lightly. When we go into something, we go into it with our hearts, you know? So, Ray, what questions do we have there?
Let's see who else joined us. Stephanie joined us. Stephanie Weitzman. Hi, Stephanie.
Great, Stephanie. Happy to have you.
Yeah, hi, everybody. Let's give Stephanie a big thumbs up. Okay, there we go. No questions yet. Kimberly had a comment. Yes, relationships have come and gone for her for many years. She's just learning how to treat herself so that she can have a man in her life that respects her too. And that's a situation where you're not going to compromise.
Okay,
you know.
So here's what happens. I'm sure that, you know, Kimberly, where you are right now in your life as opposed to previous relationships, years have gone by, where you now treat yourself better. You treat yourself better than you ever have, especially since you've met up with all of us. I'm talking about the members in Ask the Universal Channel Facebook private group. You've made some great friends there and people that you can rely on if you get in a situation where things fall apart. You've got them to help you through it, through the process of working with your guides and having them keep you strong and stable. I'm talking about your comrades in this group. And then with Ray and I, and what we do with all this each Tuesday, and keeping the journal going, keeping your journal going, and writing in it for 15 minutes a day to keep clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Okay, so you are a different person than you were in those previous relationships. So my dear, what I want you to realize and what you need to know for sure is that when you enter into your next relationship, you, just by the way that you treat yourself, are exempling how they should treat you. That's totally different than the way that you exampled, that you treated yourself before, as opposed to now. The person that you meet now, the bar's way higher in your life, and you would not tolerate the kind of partner you brought in before, you attracted before. You'd never tolerate that because you are different. You treat yourself better. That's what's beautiful about that with you. Okay.
Kimberly had a comment here, not a question, but she says, I wrote in a journal since I could write. But when I became an adult and she got married, the journal writing stopped. In hindsight, she wishes she had continued writing because it would have helped her a lot.
No kidding. In fact, that's when you should be sure to keep writing, because here's the whole point. What I just said to you, Kimberly, over the process of since you've met us all, last, 6 months or so, 4 months, yeah. 6 months, you have learned a lot about yourself. And I guarantee you there's a lot you wouldn't put up with now that you used to put up with before you knew who you were, like you know who you are now. So that changes everything going forward. You'll see when you meet the next person.
I think as you get older and you go through several relationships that are disappointing, you become a lot less tolerant of what you're willing to put up with. Well,
but we picked them.
Right.
Our flawed self in this world picked that person. That person became a lesson instead of an experience. You know, and this is part of the price of being younger and not knowing, really, not knowing who we are totally, okay, or not giving ourselves the credit we deserve when it comes to how we want to be treated, okay? We settle for things that's another compromise that is unnecessary. So as we get older and we learn these new things, we just treat ourselves better. It's just a knee-jerk reaction to do that, so that anybody who comes into our life, will treat us better because we do a better job of that. It has to come from source. It has to come from us first.
All right, we got some comments from, no questions yet. Kathy says she was in her teens, she would write in her journal to work through her feelings.
Yeah.
Kimberly said, me too. It really helped me through the abuse because I couldn't tell anybody about it.
God.
And Stephanie says, I actually write to my guides in my journal. It isn't consistent, though. I feel like it's my best way to communicate with them. That's right.
You're communicating with them more than you realize. In the beginning, okay, let me explain it to you about it this way. When you talk to your guides deliberately, in your journal in part 3, you talk to them deliberately. It's almost like trying to force a relationship. You can't force it. If you deliberately write to them, it's okay to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. It works, in fact, if you do it every day. But when you're not doing it every day, and you miss a day or a week, the intention, the strength of the intention is lost.
Yeah, the goal is to have a continuous flow of guidance coming to you all the time.
And it is. See, here's the whole point, what Ray said. It is coming to you all the time.
Right.
But you're missing it. So when you're deliberately writing to your guides and in your journal, when you're in part 3, the my journal writing part, where you write to, and you know your guides are with you for 15 minutes a day, but you have to do it every single day before you, and then refer back to what you wrote a week from now, a month from now. Then you will see what's really going on. How much of this writing you're doing is gibberish, I have to just say what it is, and how much of it is really communication. You can't see it when you're in it.
Yeah, Kimberly says she does the same thing. She'll write to her guides about her life and what's going on, but then she asks them a question or two about the situation, and she feels that's the best way to communicate with her guides.
That's really good.
Yes.
Now you're consulting with them. They like that. That's good. And keep writing 15 minutes a day, because what you wrote there were questions. You'll see answers. I want to say it in a different way. You'll see solutions start to come through. But it won't always come through the minute that you want them.
Right.
That'll come through a day from now, a week from now. It will show up. You have to write it all down, you guys.
Yeah, that's chapter 2 of My Guided Journey. Asking for help.
Yeah, that's part 2 is about going back and taking your journey back to identify the areas, the times in your life when you got, when this guidance got interrupted. So you can return to the picture. You can come back into play without this part of you being so consumed and just in this world. If this is all there is, if this is what you think, if this is all there is, this world, it makes it very hard for you, the real you, to come back into the picture. But when this starts to ease up, if this part of you starts to do the writing, this is the easing up. This part of you starts to trust you again. It begins to trust you again. It sees that you're doing the work. And this part of you isn't so anxious to react, causing this to retreat like it did before, like it did long ago.
Yeah, Kimberly says sometimes she's surprised at the answers, but she's always grateful. But you should be surprised at the answers.
Why?
Because if not, you're just making them up. A lot of times, if you know the answer, if you know the answer before you ask a question,
yeah,
you have an outcome in mind.
Okay, that would be true. What Ray's saying is, if the answer surprises you, or solution, or if it surprises you, then you know it didn't come from you.
Right.
That's what Ray's saying. It's true.
Yeah, it's.
Every time something falls apart. Let me use an example in Guided. When Mark was killed, chapter 15, 28 chapters in guided chapter 15. And I knew it was coming. I saw it a week before it came, and I told him not to drive so fast. Please don't drive so fast. I knew it was coming. And he got in head on. He was killed in the head-on collision. I was about 20 minutes behind the accident, but the moment the accident happened, 20 minutes before I got there, because I was driving, I was following them, but I was 20 minutes behind them. The moment it happened, I got this whole feeling all over me. Oh my God. I could hardly keep driving. I was so shook up. And I was like, oh my God, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. And within like 15 minutes of coming up on the accident, I didn't know where the accident was, but I knew something really happened. I knew the accident happened. I could hear the sirens, and I went, oh my God, tell me this isn't happening. Something took over. Something totally took over and guided me as to what to do. Right? I felt like a pawn in the game, okay? Like I was being directed what to do. And because I was so used to getting guidance and knowing how it worked, I followed it. It was just like, I was like a machine is what it felt like. As I followed the guidance, do this now, make this phone call, make sure you say it this way, make sure you talk to that person, make sure it was everything, you guys. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. Systematic guidance that was perfection. I couldn't have done it better if I was the most brilliant person on this planet without their guidance. Okay, they took over. So this guidance, when things fall apart, I was in shock. Okay, so when you're in shock, that's a time when guidance, you are now in a calm, you're like in the center of the hurricane. You're in that calm place, but you're right in the middle of the chaos. And the guidance just comes through, and you calmly know what to do, and you take action, and you take action, and you move through it, and it's just a roll. At the end of it is when you collapse. At the end of it is when you just almost pass out from complete exhaustion. But while you're in shock, the guidance, that's what happened when things fell apart. It was amazing. So I've had it happen throughout my life where when they first showed up at 20 months old, and I ran out of options, and I asked for someone to help me, and they showed up all around me. They showed up all around me. When everything fell apart, they were there. So I know this works. And writing in your journal is the easiest way to access it, to see it, to actually see it on the page as you continue 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, all right? And you write it down, and you ask yourself how it felt, and then you ask yourself what you realized, and only then do you have the capacity to take the action, okay? Because there's always action, you guys. Guidance doesn't come through just to let you lay back on it and go, yeah. There's always a reason that guidance came through, and an action you need to implement. Okay.
Okay, Kimberly has a question. Why is it that the guides ask us to keep our guidance, our conversations to ourselves? I always want to tell people.
I know.
But they say no.
Yeah, and it's such a wise thing to do. It's so that this is so important that you follow this guidance that they told you, to keep your guidance to yourself. You are a work in progress, all of you. And as you're writing this guidance out, as you're taking that 15 minutes a day to write it down and follow the guidance, or you're learning to, on command, speak to them whenever you want to. This is why we have this. It's two ways to work with the guides, all right? And both of them are based on the principles of dowsing, by the way. When you write in your journal, you're going to start to see guidance infiltrate your writing. That's called automatic writing. This is based on the principles of that guidance, okay? It's the same form of communication where you are dowsing, using dowsing that type of communication flow to communicate with your guides. All right. So what was her question again?
Well, why should they keep
why
to
should
themselves?
right, to yourself.
She wants to tell everybody.
It's the knee-jerk reaction everyone wants to do when they first realize that this actually works. Okay, this and this, that it works. So you're excited about it. You actually have done very good at that, Kim. All right, learning how to do this. You've got a grip on this. But the minute you share it with somebody else, now it's open. It opens you up to their opinion. Okay, to their opinion, to their perception of what you're doing, not what you're doing, not how it works, but their judgment of it. Because if they can't do it, how could you do it? You must be making it up. So they're not conscious yet. They haven't experienced this. And it's everybody, I'm telling you, everybody who learns to do this, their knee-jerk reaction is to want to share it with everybody. Because of how you feel, how much better it made you feel, what you are capable of doing, and how you can get your answers now. You're never without answers. You're never without guidance and help. It's a knee-jerk reaction to want to do that and help other people, okay? But you know what? Here's what the guides always tell me. You will help the ones who can be reached. I don't go out and just tell everybody what I do. It's been tough. We don't even spend a penny on advertising because it would draw in all the wrong people, okay? You understand? This is the real thing. This isn't play or make-believe or, this is so real. This actually works. So when you feel that, of course you want to share it. I always tell people that when you really master this, charge for it. And it sounds harsh, but really the reason I say that is you're not sharing it with anybody. Now you're providing a service that deserves respect. And if the only way they're going to respect what you're capable of doing for them, to show them how this works, to actually do it for them if you want to, is if you charge them putting a value on it. If you don't put a value on it, I've told you this before, Kim, they won't value it. They might be entertained by what you're doing. They may have fun at it, but they won't value it.
Right. But I think about who is it you're actually going to tell? You're going to tell your family. You're going to tell your friends.
You can always try. You can always do it and see that what the guides told you is true.
Right. I mean, it's
going to be harsh.
Those are mostly the people who caused the problem in the first place. Your family, your friends, the people you work with.
It's true. That's what caused you to reach out to me to begin with. First, you got guided. Everybody who finds me, it all starts from guided.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you try to share this book with some of those friends and family, they'll go, what? Either you're ready for it, you will help the ones who can be reached. It doesn't get any more clear than that. Share it with your friends. Go ahead and share it with your friends. Some of them will thank you for eternity. Others will just go, what? They won't understand it.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's okay that they don't understand it. I want you guys to know, I literally never have a client come to me that isn't ready. That isn't ready. They are all ready because they come to me from finding my book first.
Yeah, a lot of people who haven't read the book and they hear about it or they see the cover, okay, and even if they believe in spirits and angels and everything else, go, oh my God, what's that? That's not an angel. It doesn't have wings and feathers.
They just don't. They've been programmed to think the way they think. That's right. What I have to say. And this will challenge your thinking, and this will definitely challenge the programming that went in.
Right.
That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to bring you back into the picture instead of just letting you flounder in this world all alone. That's not what this is about.
Yeah, Kim says it's interesting that she wouldn't think that siblings might not be open and others are. Yeah, I think total strangers would be more open than a lot of you people who are closest to you about what you're doing,
especially
on a spiritual journey.
Yeah, especially if you grew up in a family that was abusive toward you, or critical of you, and was harmful toward you.
Right.
They're not looking out for your best interests. They didn't then.
Not now.
Why would they now? Right.
Right.
So do we have any more questions?
No, we don't.
You guys, come on. Okay.
Okay, Stephanie says she has 5 kids, and I'm presuming those are children, not little goats, right? 5 children, and each one is evolved differently. Some are open, some are not,
right,
and won't listen. I now know who I can talk to on a spiritual level and who not to talk to. Yeah. I think the only thing you can do, Stephanie, is be a great example for them.
That's what the guides would tell you.
Right.
That's what they would tell you. But let's let them tell you what they see. This is a good question. I really like the question. It deserves an answer from your spirit guides. And I know you're learning to do this, and I know that you're doing very well with it. But this question around her 5 children, some are open and some are not open. How does she do this as a mom? Here they go.
Each child will develop at their own pace and reach their own levels at different times. You cannot expect one child to be one way and not the other ones to be the same way. That's what they mean when they say you will reach the ones who can be reached. Not everyone can be reached in their lifetime, and some take longer than others to see the path.
Okay, I want to ask another question around this. We are living in times where more people are waking up and becoming conscious. They know that something else is going on, and they know that they're not alone. And we're going to come into more and more of this. Is that true in our lifetime?
Yes. People, even ones who have fought their own soul's urge in the past, will see that there is something else going on around them.
And how will the Stephanie's children be different because of that, as opposed to previous generations?
It is becoming very popular to realize who you are before it's too late. All you can do with your children is to be the example you wished you had at their age.
What do you mean by it's becoming very popular to know who you are? What do you mean by that?
People are getting into enough pain in their lives that they are willing to try many different things, even talking to us.
See, this is just, it's not something that they can avoid. In fact, people that are on the planet right now, people coming in, new people, this is not so strange. This is not so out of the ordinary. So you guys are ahead of the curve here, all right? And the example you set your children, they will see the momentum going on in this world, And they'll look back at you, Stephanie, and go, wow, my mom had this thing. My mom was right. My mom tried to show this to me, and some of my siblings, they got this thing. So I can go to them and I can fill in the blanks where I left it on the table, where I wasn't ready, I didn't understand it, I didn't get it at the time, you know? So don't push them, don't pressure them. Just be solid in yourself and the other siblings who are getting it. Just be okay with that. And if the other ones jump on board at some point in the future, and they will, I'll tell you, that's where things are heading. We are living in a time when people are becoming more conscious. It's like a requirement of our evolution.
Yeah, the other stuff's not working.
Right, that's right.
I thought the guy said something interesting in today's insight that said, that's where we come in. We show you your options. Some will work better than others,
right,
depending on the amount of effort and the action that you take and how soon you act.
Right. In other words, guidance has a shelf life. It always has a shelf life. It's critical that you write this stuff down and keep it in chronological order and date it. If you have questions, write it in your journal so that when the solution comes through, when they come through a dream, when you're driving in your car, in the shower, washing your hands, sweeping the floor, it doesn't matter. It's always those mindless things where they go, oh, they're out of their own way, boom, and shoot the guidance to you. Oh, now we can answer that question because they're out of the way. And that's how they look at you. They're with you all the time, okay? You think it came from you because it feels so natural. Why does it feel natural? In the moment that it feels that natural, you are connected.
Yeah, I think a little bit differently on that, because I think some will work better than others depending on the amount of effort you take. I think they'll all work if you put in some effort, but they'll just work to different degrees. They're not going to give you a bad option. You know.
No, they don't.
But if you want to put in this amount of work, then this will happen. If you want to put in a little more work, then that'll happen. And if you will put in a lot of work, then the best thing will happen.
How high are your I don't want to call it expectations. How high are your
commitment?
Well, no. How much do you want it?
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is. The answer to that question, how much do you want, whatever that is, will determine how big it is that you're going to go after it. How much you're going to raise the bar to do that, to achieve that, to accomplish that, to get that, okay? But you're being guided all the way through it. It's all about mastering the awareness of your guidance, the moment it comes through, and taking the action before the guidance, the shelf life runs out.
Okay, yeah, Stephanie says some of the, this is true because so many people, young people, suffer from depression. Yep. And Stephanie says some of them gave me a huge pushback this year. Whoops. What happened here? Gave me a huge pushback this year when I started my astrology practice.
Now, Stephanie's talking.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave her a pushback, Ray?
Kids and people.
Yeah.
It must be your kids.
Yeah.
That we're talking about.
Yeah, because now you stepped out of bounds in terms of what they see as what's acceptable, because they've been programmed to think like that. Okay? That's it. It's all a program. It's a comfort zone. Oh, you can't be right, Stephanie, or Mom, they'd say to you, because everyone else thinks like this. So what? That's about to change.
They used to think the earth was flat, and then they showed it was round. Now they think it's flat again. I mean, make up your mind. Okay, Barbara Ann's with us. She's been with us the last couple of weeks.
Great,
and
Barbara.
She says she has a question, not sure if it's on topic, but save it for later if we have to. No, we don't have to. She's recalling correctly. She said, I think you said that when you're around 19 years old is when we are on track for our purpose or career path or something like that? How can we relate to that younger self in mindset and get back on track if we strayed from it then? How do you recenter yourself and refocus yourself like
We're
you
going to
did
let
then?
your guides tell you how that works. I love your question. That's a great question. 19 is a critical year in everybody's life. It's a crossroads. When you make a choice to go deliberately in a direction that you will live out until you're 52 years old. When you're 52 years old, they're within 51, 52, or 53, right in there, you will be presented with another shot at it if you missed it when you were 19. Let's let them go.
At 19 years of age, you are at the pinnacle of your young energy. How you direct that energy at that time will be a successful journey. If you have the burning desire to be a doctor, you will become a great doctor. If you want to be a master carpenter, you will become a great carpenter. It's how you direct the energy at that age that determines the outcome. However, so many get distracted at that age by life. They get married, have a family, and the dream they once had gets extinguished.
Okay, but I want to ask for her. In her particular case, at 19 years old, how does she, reignite that charge in her life now? How does she recover? How does she bring back what that was so she can see it through now, so she can live it out now? She feels like she missed it.
Each day when you speak with us, ask us to remind you of that feeling so you can realize what it is you have to do now to bring it back. Do you have to eliminate some distractions in your life? Do you have to deliberately make time for yourself? Not being able to make time for yourself is what caused you to get off track in the first place.
Right. So they're asking you to sit with them. Do the writing in part 3. Part 3 is where you do the journal writing, all right? Part 2 is where you take the journey back. Once you see in part 3 where you keep getting hung up, where you got stopped out, where you got repressed back there, and then go back to part 2, go into part 2 and identify the chapter that sheds a light on and address that. Take that part of the journey. Okay? Yeah.
Great observation.
Need a tissue, Ray.
Great observation by Stephanie here.
Thank you, Ray.
She knows that her kids are all programmed. They all go to top schools, and they're also brainwashed.
Right. That's right.
That is right.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is this thing about education it's really more programming than it is education. Right. They're teaching these kids, especially in the colleges. This is a real plight. The professors teach them how to think the way they think. That should not be allowed, you know? So there's a lot that's wrong with all this. And hopefully your kids don't have to live, 40 or 50 years more to finally go, oh my God, I see where I got, programmed, and I missed it. And now I'm 60 or something. Okay, maybe I can get it now, It's never too late, you guys. It's never too late.
That's the whole basis of part 2 in the book. It's going back into your life. You didn't come in like that. You didn't come in brainwashed. You came in curious. You came in with all this energy.
Right.
You came in pure. You didn't have any biases. But first time somebody told you what? No.
Right.
That's when it all started.
And it felt like a harsh no to this little child that was wide-eyed and open to everything and loved everybody,
Right.
That's when you were so vulnerable, you guys.
First time you were told you can't love that kind of person. Wow, that was a shock.
And if you do, then my family, here's how they spoke to us kids. If you do, we will disown you. That's crazy. I mean, what does that mean? That means that we kick you out of the family, never to speak with you again. I think Kimberly knows about that one, all right? When I heard that kind of stuff as a kid, I already had a connection to these guides. I had my family, my real family, okay? I let them think that they were my family, but I knew better. So these kind of, attacks, to me, it was sad. I mean, I felt bad about this broken family, in my opinion. But I definitely, I couldn't go there. I couldn't let them take me down. Yeah.
Okay, Stephanie says it's interesting that she's helping. She has a few intensive few weeks helping her youngest with his college application, and feel it isn't a coincidence. He has to learn the right things. Now, Kimberly says, well, let me go back, jump down here.
Yeah.
Stephanie says her youngest, Aaron, is so open, he's even going to do the talking board with her.
That's great.
Well, maybe now there's 2 people to teach the rest of them.
That's right.
So,
especially when the value starts to show itself, when the flow starts to go. I heard from Kathy Cartagena in the group that you did crazy good. All right, so you've already got the feel for this. Teaching your kid and you guys doing it together couldn't be better. Okay, who knows how it's all going to shake out, Stephanie?
Kimberly says, any tips on how to get your mind quiet?
Okay, now this is something that, okay, wait, let's let Kimberly's guides talk to her about that. Getting your mind quiet. Now, instead of the guides just talking to all of you about how to get your mind quiet generically for all of you, I'm going to ask Kimberly's guides to tell her specifically to Kimberly how to get her mind quiet. Because Kimberly is a whole, each one of you are unique. And I want Kimberly to get that unique answer, and here they go.
Kimberly, we want you to start breathing deeply and do it outside.
Ooh. You know, I've talked to you guys about that, where when you breathe, when you're learning to do this, and when you're writing in your journal before you start. And to get the upper body, the shoulders, it's the back. This is where we carry the load in this life. Release that stress in your back. Get the arms, release the stress in your arms. Stretch them out. Stretch them out. Move your neck around. Get the upper body to release the stress and the pressure. Then start breathing and reach for that yawn breath and hyperventilate and stretch your body out and breathe until you catch that yawn breath. Okay, that's the one that feels so good. And then the guidance, you'll feel your head flood, okay, like a release go on. And then they can start to speak with you. Go ahead, Ray.
She said, why outside? It's -3 degrees outside.
Yeah, nice and cool. You know, one thing about cold, it snaps you right out of it. We've got a neighbor that jumps in the cold swimming pool.
Well, after he's in the hot tub.
Yeah, he's kind of a wimp, you know, but he jumps right in, but he does jump in that cold swimming pool, you guys, and he dunks down and he runs out of it.
And what's that?
But it like shocks you out of your stuff.
It shocks him into the day. He does it early in the morning.
Yeah, you go out, it's brisk, and if it's cold, dress for it and walk and get your body moving and get the upper body released and start breathing. Walk briskly and get your body moving. That is so important, you guys.
Yeah, I think when you're stuck inside, whether it's hot or cold, it doesn't matter what the temperature is. When you're stuck inside, I find myself at my desk breathing in a shallow manner.
Because you're concentrating.
Right.
Right.
You got to break the pattern.
Right. That's why they're saying that to you.
Even if you just go out and walk around the block.
And yes, it's cold out. It's even cold here at night. But take the advice, Kimberly. Dress for it so you don't get sick. But walk in a brisk way, all right? So you can really get your heart going and release that upper stress and breathe, okay? It all goes together, all right?
I think when you're shocked into a reality, it's cold or it's hot or whatever, it's pretty hard to take your mind off. It's cold. And you're not inside thinking, oh, I wonder how cold it is out there, and you're just stuck in your own pattern, the shallow breathing. If you get outside and you start walking and you start breathing, it's like when you're ice skating. You can't think of anything else but ice skating, because as soon as your mind drifts, you fall.
And that's when the guidance can come through.
Right.
Okay. That's when it comes through.
Okay. Yeah, it's cold here in South Mississippi, and she's near the beach. Yeah, when we talk about it being cold here, we're talking 45.
Yeah, I know.
Or 50 maybe.
But still.
All right. Mary Jan had an interesting observation here. Where did it go? Is there a way to become sharper at being able to decipher guidance on the spot? She gets word pops. She calls them word pops. I call them hits. Yeah. You know, right. I get a hit.
Right.
She gets word pops that come in quite often. For instance, she heard the word metronome right when she woke up this morning, and she feels like she should know what that meant right away. But she usually ends up having to Google the words that she hears so she can connect the dots.
Right. And that's good to do. I've done that with many things that have come through my dreams.
So why metronome?
Come on over, Ray. I like it, you guys. And this is for
Mary Jan.
Mary Jan. Okay. Mary Elizabeth.
Mary Elizabeth.
Okay.
Hello, Mary. Metronome. An interesting word. What it means is that you must strive for a rhythm in your life, a pace, a balance that is not too fast or not fast enough. Each one of the extremes will lead to anxiety.
That's interesting. No, that's really interesting.
Yeah, see, a metronome kind of forces you to stay within a range.
So what is it?
Yeah, it goes tick-tock, like a clock. Tick-tock,
yeah.
And, you know.
Timing.
When I was a little kid and took piano lessons, you know, my teacher would have one on the piano.
So it's timing, rhythm.
Right. Stay with the rhythm. Stay with the timing. Be even, be square. You know, don't go too fast. Don't go too slow. Find your own pace in life.
Right. That comes from trust.
Yeah. Trusting
yourself. Not looking for somebody else to tell you what that is, because they don't know what your rhythm is. They hardly know what their rhythm is, all right? So it's about, you've got to learn to become aware of your rhythm.
So Stephanie asked, does it help to put music on before? Well, some people like to have music on before they meditate or talk to their guides, but
you know, Stephanie,
some don't. It doesn't matter.
That really doesn't matter. If it feels good to you,
Right.
but it doesn't distract you, then it's good. All right? But if it distracts you, then it's not good.
Like Kimberly says, music doesn't seem to help her. It's freezing out there. Yoga's been helping her a lot.
That's good.
Yeah, if it's freezing outside, just run outside and run back in.
Yeah, just dress for it.
Yeah.
You know, give it a spin. Try it out. Don't argue with it. If they tell you to do something, try it. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, they're either one of those, what do they call those clubs that people that go out with their swimming trunks on and cut a hole in the ice and jump in the ice, the polar bear clubs. I mean,
you won't find me in one of those.
No, you wouldn't
guys.
find me in one of those either. Anyway,
okay.
I might be in the teddy bear club.
I'd be in the hot tub club.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to do, Ray and I are going to channel the closing message for tonight on who do you talk to when things fall apart. But first, I'm going to talk about a few announcements here. We've got next Tuesday. Every Tuesday we do this with you guys, okay? And we love it. Next Tuesday, December 17th, join me right here on my Facebook page, Linda Deir Author. This will be a Q&A and commentary just like tonight with me and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so don't miss it. In Linda's weekly guided insights, my spirit guides will be talking about, this is a good one, listen to this one. Linda reminds you who you are. Okay, I want to just say this one thing. When I was 20 months old and I was terrified, my mom, I didn't know what to do in the situation I found myself in this really messed up family where my mom almost killed me, and I asked for help and they all showed up around me. It was in that moment that my guides, my spirit guides, reminded me who I was. I was changed forever. I don't know how to compare it to anything. I was changed from what? I was changed from letting fear consume me. That's the first thing I was changed from. Because you know what? I knew I wasn't alone. And I was being guided. That made all the difference in the world. I remembered who I was. I remembered them. Okay? It was a whole experience. So Linda reminds you who you are. It's like I'm stepping in for them so that you can begin to connect with what this is. Okay, and here I go. Do you remember who you are? Do you remember who you used to be? We're talking about when you were that little kid, that new person who first came here. We will tell you that you used to be a different person. You're going to know that as you do this work. You're going to remember who you are. We are not talking about the person you have become, but the person you were when you first came here. The person you forgot. It seems like a long time ago since you knew this other person. You weren't that person for very long before you got interrupted by the pressure of what everyone expected you to be, the people in this world. It's not that they didn't like the new person who just arrived, just that they felt it was their job to mold that new person into a clone of them. They call it family, all right? After all, that's what their parents taught them when they first got here. Okay, so this will be another good one, you guys. So join us on Tuesday to find out more and bring your questions. This is going to be great. Okay, the next one is mark your calendars for this weekend. This weekend.
Whoa.
We're going to be live in Saturday, December 14th. Ray and I will be live on location in Phoenix, Arizona at Storm Wisdom from 1 to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This event is about 2020. The spirit guides will navigate you through the volatile year to come. And it's going to be volatile, you guys. You're going to have to be on your toes. So they're going to show you how to do this, all right? So we're going to do this. It's going to be Ray and I, along with those who attend on location. We're going to interact with them in this free event for those who attend on location. You can also attend this event live streaming. You can get it right up from the website, lindadeir.com. You can, right below, you'll see live events. And you can watch the video trailer. It's about a minute long on this live event. And you can sign up for it on demand. Okay, so you can watch it live, or you can watch it on demand for 30 days after it's over for just $9.95. Register early because seating is limited. We've been filling it up. And to watch the video trailer and register for this event, click on the link in the description of this video. You'll see it right there. And just, I always remind you guys, because it's important that we get the word out about what we're doing, to be all you came here to be, find a way to support those who have made a difference in your life. Share this video and my website, because that's where people will find out what I do, lindadeir.com, about my work if I have made a difference in your life. So we're going to close the session with the Spirit Guide's closing message about tonight's insight. And what is it, Ray?
Who do you talk to when things fall apart?
Well, I know who I talk to when things fall apart. I do talk to myself first. And since I've got this guy in my life with me, I drag him into all this stuff with me. Okay, I talk to Ray, but I always consult with myself first and let the guidance come through. So when I talk with Ray, my partner, my friend, the love of my life, when I talk to him, I just don't come to Ray with a problem. I come to Ray with, you know, there's a situation, and this is what came to me about it, Ray. So let's talk about that, and tell me what comes to you about it.
A lot of times it's the same thing.
It is, many times. Yeah, Ray gets the hit. It's rare that he goes, eh. It happens sometimes. Okay, there's a reason for that. We always figure it out. Okay, so here they go with their closing message about tonight's insight.
When you talk to yourself, who do you think you are talking to? Who do you think is listening? First, realize you are not alone. Never alone. You are with your best friends. You can tell us anything. You can ask us anything. Write down your feelings. Then ask us why you feel that way. We will tell you what your options are always. We will watch you take action. Be bold.
When you get this guidance and you write it in your journal so you don't forget what you got, and you write about how it feels. Okay, it's that feeling. That's what's the key. Only when you can write down what that feeling is will you realize what's going on, so you can take that action. What they're asking you to do in that action is take that action. Don't just go, well, kind of. well, oh, I'll try.
Try?
There's no such thing as
no such word as try.
Try is no.
Try means no.
Try is like maybe. Okay, I'll think about it. Maybe. Okay, that's weak, you guys. That's not you being all in your life. That's not you living the life you came here to live. Okay. What they're asking you to do, be bold, okay? Do it all the way. If you don't go in, all in, don't bother.
Right.
Don't bother. You'll miss it. It'll be half-hearted. It will be weak, and that's not who you are. They know that's not who you are. Go ahead, Ray.
All right, Kimberly's going to go outside and breathe deeply for 10 minutes. Okay, along the same line, Kimberly, Google, there's a guy in Sweden, in Norway or Sweden, who holds like 27 world records for deep breathing out in the cold.
Yeah.
And his name is Wim, W-I-M, Hof, H-O-F. And he has the Wim Hof method of controlling your breathing in all kinds of weather, especially cold.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And he has set all these records for like staying under the ice for so many minutes.
You don't need to do all that.
You don't have to do that. But what he's done over the period, he's in his 60s now.
Yeah.
What he's done is he's perfected this breathing technique where he can control his physiology. He can control the temperature of his body through his breathing.
Yeah. This is what the yogis do.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Just and he teaches the method for free online.
It's radical.
It is radical, but it works.
Yeah. So when you weigh against what you're going to do against what Ray just shared with you with this other guy, what you're going to do will be a piece of cake compared to what Ray just told you about, all right? So when you it gives you a place to put it in perspective. I guess that's really what I'm trying to say about that.
Yeah.
So, but when the guides give you guidance, don't hesitate, you guys. Hesitating just means that you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in yourself. Your guides believe in you completely. I believe in you all more than you believe in yourself. At least for right now, until you guys really get this down, all right? It starts here. If you want to advance, you want to do an advanced version of this, right here, join the group, ask the Universal channel. You can go in there and ask to join, and Ray will send you the requirements to get in, because people just don't get into this group. This group is so special. This group is so intimate and the real thing, okay? You won't believe how great these guys are, okay, and how powerful this is. So this is real. This isn't play. All right, you guys. Do we have everything ready?
We covered everything.
Okay,
we'll see some of you online hopefully this weekend.
This weekend, Saturday. Don't miss it. It's going to be fabulous.
2020. And it's going to set the stage for what, the next 5 years of your life.
The next 5 years of your life is what the guides told us.
Right.
We don't even know what they're going to tell you in this event. But it's not just 2020. It's about what you do in 2020 that carries over.
Right.
Okay, that makes the difference, you guys.
Okay, everybody.
We love you guys.
See you again soon. Be kind. Stay warm.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.